White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki says that this is a much different speech than President Biden will give compared to one he may have given several months ago. The Russian invasion into Ukraine has really thrust U.S. foreign policy into the spotlight. So the White House says expect a discussion of how to hold Russia accountable, while at the same time how to mitigate the economic effects from the invasion here in the U.S. and globally. President Biden facing a major foreign policy test with Russia's invasion of Ukraine. The news about attacks, casualties, and Russian military movements are dominating the headlines. How should that factor into tonight's State of the Union address?
He should give an entire shout out to the 44 million people in Ukraine that are standing up to this big bully.
George Washington University political science professor Gary Nordling says the speech gives Biden a perfect opportunity to roll out something new sanctions against Russia or increased military aid to Ukraine. But especially in an election year, don't look for Republicans to come to the president's side with a pat on the back.
I can't think of any Democrat in 4 years of Donald Trump that actually gave Donald Trump an attaboy about something. And we can't expect that coming up from any Republicans about anything Biden does.
Of course, it's domestic policy that Biden has to focus on in order to get more voters behind him and in his camp. A new CBS News poll released this morning shows that just 44% of Americans approve of the job that President Biden is doing as president. He's got to bring up things like countering inflation, gas prices, and rising groceries. Those are some of the bread and butter issues. We had a chance to talk to Maryland Congressman and Majority Leader Steny Hoyer and Virginia Congressman Republican Rob Whitman about some of these economic effects.
Who do you blame when something's going wrong on the national scene? The President of the United States. Whether he or she is at fault or not, they tend to get the blame. In this case, I don't think Biden is deserving of the blame. And I think he's going to talk about his empathy for that angst, that challenge that the American people are facing.
Has to lift the limits on domestic energy exploration and production. I think if they're able to get fuel prices down, that's the driver on the economic side. It helps with everything. Farmers deal with higher fuel prices. The input prices for fertilizers are derived from fossil fuels.
President Biden's State of the Union address set for 9 o'clock tonight. The Republican response will be delivered by Iowa Governor Kim Reynolds. Now, Nordlinger tells me that despite the fact that the eyes of Washington and the world will be on this speech, actually less than 15% of the voting population actually tunes in to watch it. But what he says that they need to see is empathy and hopefulness. We're at the Capitol. Adam Longo, WUSA 9.